Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. I seem to be quite red in the face. It's weird. Most of the guys watching this channel are probably from the same country as I am, which is Finland. And you're probably wondering, why is my, well, I wouldn't say favorite YouTuber because I'm a really lazy poster on this channel. But you're probably wondering why I'm speaking English, and there's quite a simple reason for that. Well, the first thing is I really want to improve the way I speak, and the second reason is this piece of shit at the back will be fitted with an engine that's not too common. Well, it is quite common in Europe, but not too common in the rest of the world. Now you're probably wondering,
what's the engine he's talking about? Is it like an SR20 or something?
No, it's not. It's actually a Mercedes M104 engine. This is the 2.8 liter version. And the reason I'm fitting this into that is because, well, this engine is dirt cheap at the moment. It hasn't got the 2JZ inflation quite yet. It's on its way up, but they are quite cheap still. I bought a car with that M104 engine, took it apart, sold the rims and some small parts of the interior, and that thing right there cost me around 200 euros, plus all the parts I have for it. As I said, it's a 2.8 liter straight 6 engine. It's quite durable. There's a few versions of that. For example, there's like the 2.8, the 3 liter and the 3.2. Some people like to think the 3 liter is like the God tire engine because it comes equipped with dual valve springs from the factory and a aluminium intake manifold, so you can make an intake plenum from it quite easily. But that's not the case. The thing is, the best one of all of those is actually the older model 3.2 and I think the 2.8 version too. The reason for that is they are actually equipped with a even stronger block than that one. We like to call that specific block the skeleton block because, well, I can show you at some point, but there's like these big channels or oil cooling passages or whatever it is in the block, which actually make it a bit weaker than the older gen engines. And the older gen engines also have a bit stronger pistons and whatnot, so that's like the go-to when you're building these, but we should be able to make pretty decent amount of power from that one. The engine itself, it's here in Europe, it's quite used, specifically in Finland. Some Norwegian guys are driving it in drifting, and Sweden is also very popular. We've actually changed the con rods to HBM rods. They are TE Motorsport con rods, HBM rods with new bearings. And the head has been done. I ported it myself. I can maybe try to add a graph here about the results. Dual valve springs, titanium retainers and whatnot. The only thing that's a bit restricting are the camshafts and the fact it has hydraulic lifters still equipped, but the camshafts I'll actually change before the engine goes in. So that's a bit like a short introduction on why I'm changing the language to English. But anyhow, here you can see my garage. Yes, as you can see, it's quite messy at the moment. There's my bed. My ex actually dumped me like a month back, so I moved all my shit here. This is my buddy's E36 and this is my S chassis. Unfortunately, this specific car is quite rusty. I've done a fuck ton of welding and there's still a fuck ton of welding to be done. But anyhow, why should this video on this channel be interesting to you? I'll tell you. And it has something to do with that engine over there. For the people who don't know me, I've actually been building cars for like maybe 4 years now or something. I had an older one or like a similar S chassis. It was also with the Senki front. It had a 1JZ and a BMW transmission and whatnot. Fun car. But I accidentally drove it into a big electrical box and almost died, so let's not talk about that. But anyhow, the thing is, I like those M104 engines, and I also like to weld. I like to weld a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean I have a fuck ton of projects going on. I have like M104 manifolds that are going to be shipped, all over Europe. Some go to Finland. So my point is, this channel, I'm going to try and film when I build this car, which might take a bit or a little while, because I actually have a lot of M104 manifolds to make, and a lot of manifolds to make too. I have a day job, I'm a regular working guy, but the thing is, I really enjoy welding. Like it's, I like to say it's a hobby, but it's, the place where I get most of my income. But anyhow, as you can see, we don't have any like nice facilities here, but we are actually planning to build a loft. I think it's called loft, from this pillar all the way to this wall. And the reason for that is, up there we'll have some storage room, we'll have some parts for sale, I have my own company. And then, I'll make some curtains here, I can build engines here, welding there and whatnot. So, the point of this video is, I'll actually make this M104 manifold. Today, this is going to be fitted into a W201, and it also actually fits the W124 model. I'm using 12mm thick flanges for the head and for the turbo, and we also have some billet parts in this, which is nice. So in the start of these channels, in the beginning, I'll mostly film when I do these manifolds and customer jobs and whatnot, and then slowly, when we get the loft up here and we get the storage spaces and stuff like that, we will start bringing a lot of M104 parts to the market. Because back in my day, when I started getting into cars, I had a friend who had a Mark IV Supra, and it was actually, at the time, it was really cheap. It was like 10k car or something, and they've gone up, and the 2JZ engines have also gone up. The M104, which is somewhere there, is not as good as a 2JZ, but it's still a really good engine, and I am certain that they will gain the same type of inflation that the 2JZs got, at least to some point. Maybe not as expensive, but they are starting to cost a bit. So, I will try to make a, I have my company, but I'll try to make like a tuning shop that is specialized in M104 engines. We'll start bringing like conrods to the market, all the parts for the engine. And because it's a naturally aspirated engine from the factory, we'll also supply all the stuff you need for a turbo upgrade. And for example, the manifolds I'm making, the reason I'm making those is lots of people in the UK, if they turbo their Mercedes, it's always the same chassis. Either the W201 or the W124 model. So we'll try to make like a small shop that's specialized in M104 engines. I have turbo flanges, manifolds, we'll have oil relocation plates and tips and tricks for the engine, what you need to know when building one, and blah blah blah, what are the weak spots. They don't have too many, but they have a few, and stuff like that. But yeah, my buddy will soon come through that door, we'll maybe have a chat, and after that I'll try to film when I produce some of the manifolds. I have quite a lot to do, so let's get going. Okay, so as you can see, I've changed my work clothes. This is old riding hoodie I've had for like 80 years or something. It's a miracle it's still alive. But I thought I'd show you. I got all the parts cut out for the manifold. I have this notching device, which actually sucks a lot. Like this, you put the tube in and then you just like through the whole fucking thing. It sucks, but it gets the job done, so that's okay. Here we now have the primaries of the manifold. These are made from regular grade steel, carbide steel, carbon steel. I don't remember what the correct term for that is, but those are quite good. They are 38 millimeters in inner diameter, which is around 42.8 millimeters in outer diameter or something like that. So these are quite good. The collectors, or the tubes, have been notched at an angle of around 28 degrees, I'd say. 27 degrees. So they're quite sharp, and that's the reason why my manifolds actually make a car sound really nice, because these are made good, and then when you step it up, it flows, and it actually, I have a long video on the same channel which explains the whole process, but yeah. Next up, I'll actually be bolting the flange to a, what the fuck is it called? Wait a minute. There's actually a tap that has broken inside this one. But this is quite thick aluminium. I use it I use it as a stress plate for the manifold, so when you tighten it down, you weld it around, it does not warp. During my 4 years of welding manifolds, I've never had a manifold flange warp so bad that you'd have to like straighten it up in some sort of CNC machine or whatever. But anyhow, that's what I'll be doing next, and when that's done, I'll weld everything up, and after that we can make the secondaries for the manifold. This manifold will be picked up tomorrow, so I'm in a bit of a hurry, but it's okay. I have a free day tomorrow, so I can weld all night. And regarding the angle of the collectors on a manifold, it's actually quite crucial that you make them good. I know people that weld really nice manifolds, and I know a lot of companies that make nice manifolds, and they don't have as sharp of an angle on the collectors that they should have. And there's actually quite a lot of, I wouldn't say mathematics, but there's quite a lot of info regarding manifolds on the internet. You can read a lot if you want to. I also have a lot of information, a lot of stuff I unfortunately cannot say on video regarding my work and regarding stuff I know about building turbo manifolds. But yeah, the more steep you get the angle, the better, but these manifolds will be quite universal, so that's one reason why we can't make it even sharper. But I've considered my manifolds are good to even up to and over 1000 horsepower, so I could say I'm quite confident in what I do. But yeah, next up I'll be doing the stress plate jig, and then we're all set. Okay, so another small situation update. I can actually show you. I just cut out the collector pipes for the turbine flange, and that came out not perfect. I'll have to do them again, but 1 second. They did not turn out perfect, but while I was mucking up the manifold to the, I don't know, jig, or we like to call it jig in Finnish, but to the muck up with the other flange and whatnot, I realized the collector pipes will get quite close to the manifold, and this is not an issue if you weld all the pipes in the right order. There's a few things you have to consider when building a manifold. There's a manifold producer from UK. They're called Walton Engineering, I think. I've been following them for a while. They make fantastic manifolds, and there's a few reasons for that. They're very talented at welding. They give a lifetime warranty, and they stated it quite good. We like to give a warranty not so you can just come and change the manifold when it breaks, but so you don't have to change it at all. And well, when I make my manifolds, I like to think about it has to be easy to mount. There needs to be clearance. It needs to be durable. I also give out lifetime warranties to my manifolds, but I still want them to be durable. And the last thing is I want the wastegate to be easy to place, as it should be placed on a manifold. And now we are coming to the point of why I started recording. Here is my M104 engine. You're probably wondering, yo, did you throw the head on already? No, I did not. It's not on bare metal. There's a thick layer of tape beneath it, and I just put in a few of the head studs. These are actually quite fun. These are like regular hardware store bolts. We like to call them kovat pulled in Finnish, which directly translated means hard bolts, and those are like, I don't know, 20-30 euros altogether for the whole head. So yeah, I threw the head on. I realized it sucked. It weighed a lot more than I remembered. But the point of why I'm recording is now when I mocked all the pipes up, I was thinking in my head, people will be using these manifolds in a few different chassis, so maybe I'll check out with the engine mounts. And that was a really, really wise choice, because the turbo will sit around here somewhere. And when we have the collector pipes coming down, we make quite long secondaries for the manifold. And now when I mocked everything up, I realized the engine mount, well, I mean, it's not closed. There's still lots of room to play with, but still, I was about to turn 2 degrees, or 290 degree turns up here and then to the collector, but I realized that will not probably be possible. I do have some measurements of my body's chassis, so I might just turn it here and then from here up, but I still thought it was a good idea to check, which it was. And now I have the head on, so it looks really nice. But next up, I'll most likely remove all this, go back to the working table or the workstation, make the first pipe to the turbine flange, and then when that's done, I'll take it off. I'll come over here and try and fit it out, and when it's good, then we are happy. And as you can see, it's another day. Sun is shining, birds are singing, and what not. Yesterday I mocked up, this piece of shit right here. The guy who fabricates these billet flanges or parts that I weld up, I asked him if he could make these 3-to-1 collectors for me, because even though I have this shitty tool I do them with, there's still lots of manual fabrication that has to be done before they're ready to get welded up, and that takes a lot of time. So when you're mass producing or starting to mass produce manifolds, you need to calculate out what is the most cost-effective way to do them. Regarding cost-effective ways, I unfortunately counted up how much money I need to make in like 4 months to be able to build my car, and oh well, now it's deleted from the drawing board, but a ballpark figure is around 21,000 euros. I have around 4 months to get that money, and that's like just for the car. So this piece of shit will take approximately 21,000 euros of my own money during the 4 months before it even is drivable, or you can even start it. Of course, I didn't calculate my how much I get from my day job there, but this is how much I need to make with all the stuff I do here. It's a lot of money. I need to net around 5,200 something euros a month. So that means that's after material costs, after taxes, after everything, and that's a lot of money. But I calculated it out, and it's actually possible to do. From the M104 manifolds, I'll get quite a good money, and then when I get all my hoodies produced and sold, I'll also get something from that. I actually update quite a lot of my daily life on my Snapchat account, which is right here. We'll try to edit. So yeah, if you like this type of content, I post daily, I post not hourly, but like many times a day, all the stuff I do. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, now next up I'll mock up a few of the pipes, and when that's done, I'll weld them up, take it back to the engine stand, and then we'll see how it fits. And a small situation update once again. Now we have the first secondary done. I had to put 2 90-degree turns and then 2 45s and a really small, a bit of a like straight tube. But yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's actually very good. Sometimes I see people produce manifolds, and before the flange to the turbo, they like to put like a really steep 90-degree turn. And to be honest, in this case, if I would have made one of them right here and the collector here, the pipes would be short, blah blah blah. But there's a small issue, the idea of having 2 pieces of straight tubing before the actual flange is it will like speed up the exhaust gases before it enters the turbo. And now when we have these right here, it's really easy to fabricate wastegate pipes for it. Actually, you can just put a small notch here and take it here and from the other pipe here. And with these 90-degree turns, it's actually quite good. We have technically 3 of them, because here will only be like a 90 and then a 45 and a 45, and we'll have to put a bit of straight pipe here in between, but that's actually good, because then we can try to match the length of the secondaries on these. All right, as you can see, I have my fresh air anti-lag mask on. I really recommend using one of these if you weld a lot. I personally did not use one for around 3.5 years of welding, and now my lungs are fucked. But anyhow, we got the manifold all mocked up. It turned out pretty nice. A few things I probably will change for the upcoming manifolds is the type of collector I have, and I'll show you why. Because now when I do this really sharp collector here, it goes quite a long way down. If I use one of those that look like this, I might be able to chop off maybe 1 centimeter or something, and that helps with the secondary pipe of cylinder number 4, 5, and 6. But anyhow, as you can see, sits up nicely. We have this huge truck turbo here, whole set, very common in Finland. I'll most likely drive this season with that specific turbo, and during the winter I'll upgrade it to some sort of precision. But yeah, it's nice. Now we just have to start welding. This manifold will be done today, and that's nice. As you can see, it's quite tight with the engine mount, but there's still quite a lot of room left, so that's okay. And when you're mucking up all these pipes and whatnot, as you can see, there's slim to no gap anywhere. Here's a small gap. I did this by myself, like without the tool, so that's why it has some fitment issues. But anyhow, when you weld these manifolds, and if you like to do manifolds on your own, one key, I have a few things I think about. Of course, it has to hold up, it has to be easy to remove, and it has to be a good working manifold. One thing you really need to keep in mind is the less gaps you have, the less the manifold will move when you weld it, and the better it will fit in the car. For example, here on the flange, you can't see, but there's a small gap, so I really have to tack it up good before I do the final welds. And now I don't weld anything, like everything in one, how should I say, go. I will chop it up maybe here and here and here. And then I have these small pipes that are easier to weld, and they are also easier to mock up together. The collector and these two pipes will be welded separately, and all of the rest of the stuff. These collectors I'll most likely just keep stuck to the flange, because there's no fitment gaps in those, so we should be good. But yeah, this turned out really nice, and now I'll start deassembling the whole thing and weld it up. We are back at the workstation. This is for the cylinder number 4 and 5 and 6. That's almost been welded up. This one I'll start welding now, and the manifold is all broken down. Yeah, here it is. As you can see, it sits really nicely with the billet flanges or billet parts. I have to do some really mild porting to the primaries, but that's, so small it doesn't really matter. I'll attach this to the stress template after I've welded up these, and then I'll check everything, and then we're good. The collector is also here. Seems a bit sketchy, but it works. Voila! Now I have the flange bolted up to the stress plate I have. This is actually the first time I'm trying aluminium. As you can see, it's quite a thick plate, so it shouldn't warp. And it's very rare that my manifold flanges warp, but still, you can never be too sure. These are all bolted up with hex stud bolts. They get a bit more room here in between, so it's easier to weld. This one is not bolted up because I actually broke down a thread tap inside and I couldn't get it out, but should still work. Earlier, when I've done manifolds, as you can see, I have lots of different patterns here, bolt patterns. There's some JC, Volvo B230, one M104. And usually I like to, put it in this because it's rectangular, it's really strong, and it's easy to move around. This plate is not easy to move around, but we'll see how it goes. I think I'll maybe put some sort of time lapse when I'm welding these, and it should be quite good. Voila! Now we have the runners all welded up to the flange. I actually even welded a few of the first tubes, and as you can see, they turned out pretty good. Every time you get a good bead, you always think in your head, it would be so fun to just bolt it out and check how it became or ended up, but I won't do that. One thing with these mild steel pipes, if you're doing your own manifolds or anti-lag stuff or whatever, one thing to keep in mind is, even though it's just regular, mild steel and you can weld it with fucking everything, the prep work is still very, very important. I forgot to prep these pipes, so it's not as nice to weld, but it'll hold up, it'll work. I can still give a warranty to the manifold. As you can see, these ones have been prepped everywhere. I always make like small notches on the end of the tube so we get full penetration on the weld. But yeah, I still have all this to weld up and all this to weld up, and then we can start mucking everything up. But yeah, I have a very little gas left in my bottle, so we'll just have to hope we can weld all this up before it goes out. Then I'll just pick up a small bottle so I can get this thing done.